Hello everybody. It's standard third. Subject is English. Let's start. Chapter number one. The selfish giant. In our previous video, we have checked out the hard words. Now let's start the chapter. Let's try to understand the chapter. You must have been to a garden. So you might have a garden nearby your area or nearby your house. Make a list of the things that you have seen there. So whichever things you are going to see there, you just make a list of that. Discuss it with your partner and compare your list. So whichever list you have made, whichever the things you have noted down in the garden, that list you just discuss with your partner or friend or maybe brother and sister. So here is a new story of selfish giant and how the selfish giant turned into a generous giant. This whole story is about. Okay, so let's start it. Are you paying attention? Okay, pay attention. Okay, so that you will get the enjoyment of this story. The giant's castle has a huge garden. So there was a giant, and the giant has a huge garden. It has many flowers. Okay, in that garden there were many flowers. Every afternoon, children of the village play in the garden. So every afternoon, the children of that village were playing in that garden. Okay, what a fun! What fun we have in this garden! The children are speaking like this. Okay, but what happens when the giant comes back? So maybe giant was not there, and that is why the children have went into the garden to play. Okay, so the boys, the children are talking with each other that right now, as we are playing in the garden, if what will happen if the giant will come? Well, the giant has gone to visit his friend. Okay, so one of the friend or one of the children is telling that, well, the giant has went to visit his friend. Okay, and it has been many years. Let us hope he never come back. Okay, so as the giant went to meet his friend, so they are hoping that they will. We hope that he will never come back. Okay, one day the giant comes back. Okay, so one day what happened? Well, the giant has came back. He sees the children playing in the garden, and as soon as he look, the children were playing in the garden. Okay, he is very angry. He was very angry now as he has looked that the children are playing in the garden. So he built a high wall around the garden and put a notice at the gate. So as he has noticed that, as he has looked that the children are playing in his absence, so he builds a high wall around the garden, and he has also put a notice on the gate. You see, he is a selfish giant. So by doing this activity, that around the garden, he has built high walls, and at the gate he has put a notice. By these two activities, we come to know that he is a selfish giant. The children have nowhere to play now. So now where the children will play? How happy we were there. So the children are telling how happy we were in the garden. But as selfish giant has built all the walls around the garden, and he has keep the notice also. So how we will happy, how much happy we were in the garden. But right now we cannot go in that garden, right? As the giant has made high walls, as well as he has put the notice, so we cannot go there. So still children are very unhappy, okay, with it. Then the spring comes, okay, and then the spring comes, the whole country blooms with the flowers except for the giant's garden. Okay, so after that spring season has came, and in that spring season whole country were bloom with the flowers, but in the selfish giant's garden that spring has not came. Spring does not visit in his garden. See, spring does not visit to the selfish giant's garden. Okay, now I cannot understand why spring is so late in my garden. So selfish giant was telling to himself that I don't understand why the spring still it has not came in my garden. The only people who visit in his garden are frost and snow. Okay, only frost and snow were there. Okay, in the selfish giant's garden, but still spring was not there. Spring has forgotten this garden. Has forgotten this garden. We can live here all the year around. Okay, this frost and snow is telling, I think spring has forgotten to come here. We can live here all the year around. Okay, then the giant is sad. The giant was sad, very sad, as the spring season was not coming in his garden. He was very sad. He waits for spring, but spring does not came. Okay, does not come. Spring does not come. One day he hears lovely music from the garden. One day he was listening lovely music. Okay, he comes out of his castle and see a little bird on a tree singing a beautiful song. So there was a little bird who was singing very beautiful song. Okay, oh, what a lovely music! I think spring has came at last. So what a lovely music he was listening. So he thought, selfish giants thought that finally spring has came in my garden. Let's see what happens next. He peeps out of the window and sees lovely sight. As he has looked outside, he has seen a lovely scene. What was the lovely scene? He sees some children creeping through a little hole in the wall. So as he has noticed, as he has seen that the children creeping through the little hole in the wall, he peeps them playing under a tree. He peeps them playing under the tree. The tree is so glad to have the children back again that it covers itself with flowers. Okay, so as the children have crept through the little hole of the wall, and finally they were playing under the tree, and as soon as they were playing, the trees were very glad to have the children back, and it covers itself with flowers. Okay, only tree was covered with the flowers. Why? Because the children were playing there, right? Now so he breaks the wall around his garden. So finally he has broke the wall. Okay, and after that, how selfish I have been. I have been punished for not sharing my garden with the children. So the selfish giant was thinking, first of all he has broke the wall, and then he was thinking that how selfish I was. How selfish I was. If I will not selfish, then if I was selfish, then maybe I will be punished. I should be punished for not sharing my things. Selfish giant was thinking like this. The selfish, the giant's heart melts. Giant's heart melts with the tears in his eyes. He, he thinks about it. Okay. So he broke the wall and finally he allows the children in his garden. So finally he has allowed the children to play in his garden. Soon his garden is filled with the laughter of children. Okay, so finally the garden was filled with the laughter of children. Now the giant often joins the children in their games. So now the giant also sometimes he was playing with the children in their different games. Years go by and the giant grows older and feeble. So years passed. He can no longer play. He can no longer play with the children, but he sits and watches the children play. Okay, so he was sitting and he was just looking to the children for playing nicely. Believe me, spring now never forgets to visit the giant's garden. So till that day, the spring was not forgetting to visit in his garden. Why? Because now he become generous. Okay, he has allowed the children to play in his garden. So he has started to share his things, right? So here a very beautiful message we get that happiness lies in sharing and caring. Okay, so whatever the things we are having, that we have to share with our friends, we should share with the care. Okay, thank you. Here we are just stopping the chapter. In the next video we are going to check out the exercise. Till then you just try to learn it. Okay, thank you.